Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here we are. We've had a little bit of time off from recording, unexpected, but we're back and recording. And Joy has some music news, I believe.
Just some really interesting music news. It's something fun if you're traveling. Tim and me have talked about, Tim loves to travel, especially to kind of music-related things, so it made me think of him. There is this thing, it's called the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa. And It's kind of how it's like a bittersweet place in rock and roll history. It was the stage for Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Boppers' final performance before the plane crash in 1959. It's known as, the day the music died. We've all heard that. This September, the ballroom will debut a new it's an exhibit, but it's more in, you can go in and, do things. What's the word I'm looking for, Tim? It starts with an I. Immersive is the word I'm looking for. It's called Not Fade Away. It's a music enrichment center. Visitors can step in to rare artifacts. They'll see Buddy Holly's guitar, jacket, Ritchie Valens' gold records, and Les Paul's, prototypes, which I thought of you because that sounds like something you would like. And they're all going to be brought to life through projections, restored audio footage, things of that. And the ribbon cutting ceremony will happen on September 7th, which is conveniently Buddy Holly's 88th birthday.
Interesting.
It sounds like something I feel like both of me and you would enjoy. I really was reading a lot about the Les Paul groundbreaking prototypes, and I was like, oh, Tim would love this. He should go.
Yeah, because they probably have Les Paul's log, I would imagine.
They do. Yes, that was on the list.
That was the prototype solid body electric guitar, because as we all know, Les Paul invented the solid body electric guitar.
This is true. And I just thought it was interesting. I love the movies that they've done about Buddy Holly. I love Buddy Holly music. I'm very familiar with all of this. And so they said there's a lot of rare artifacts that people aren't even familiar with, that they've taken from different years in their life, even before they were famous. And so in September, maybe we'll hear a story about Tim driving to Iowa to go find this exhibit.
I mean, it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. I mean, it actually sounds pretty fun. I would totally go.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Tim is the kind of guy who will go drive 3 states over to look for a big ball of yarn or something that's on the side of the road. I
mean, why wouldn't you? I remember driving a considerable distance to see the world's largest chest of drawers.
See, I'm not joking when I say these things. I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember, I don't know if you ever watched Tim probably doesn't because it involves watching a movie, but it was like the Muppets, and there was this scene where they're driving and there's a big fork in the road. Like a giant fork in the road. I've seen
that, yes. I know exactly what you mean.
And Fozzie the Bear says, oh my God, there's a fork in the road. Where do we go? It's like a fork. And first of all, that's right up me and Tim's alley because we love very literal humor. But second of all, it always makes me think of those sideshow things like the giant fork in the road, going and visiting it.
Yeah.
Tim would drive 3 states over to go see the giant fork in the road.
100%.
And Hannah would play clapping songs on the radio as they go.
Actually, make a great playlist with clapping
I don't know why I
songs.
called it a radio. It's not really a radio when you're making the playlist, but we'll pretend like it is. It's your own personal station, really.
Well, as we know, the radio has been described as somebody else's playlist.
It's true. Every time I think of radio, I always just think of Queen now, too, because Radio Gaga is such a good song.
Exactly. Well, that whole song is about the demise of radio and the fact that it's not important to people anymore.
Yeah. And what's funny is I always can, and this is going to sound very judgy, and I'm probably going to get judged for saying this. Someone out there is going to be like, Joy, don't say it. I can really judge someone's satirical and understanding of things when they talk about this song, because I've known someone in my life who took it very literal, Tim. And when he says Radio Goo Goo, Radio Gaga, he's like, I just don't get it. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't get it? It's literally, he's telling you, you know what I'm saying? They did not get it. They're like, I just don't like that song. And it was because they weren't getting the reference. And I'm like, listen, how are you not hearing this is a like it's a play on itself?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's one of those things I'm like, because I love good. This is why, and for those who've not listened to this podcast before, we've talked many times. I love shows like Family Guy, or right now South Park is killing it out there. We won't talk about it, but it's killing out there with social commentary, satire on what's happening in the world, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't get the social references, which Tim has joked about, sometimes he struggles with that because he never watches TV. It has no reference point for what they're talking about. It could be hard, but I really think the song Radio Gaga is pretty obvious.
Yeah, and it's a Roger Taylor song as well.
And the guy who looks like every white guy ever in the UK.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
If I saw him on the streets, I don't think I'd recognize him. We would be sitting in a pub beside each other. They'd be like, hey, I'm Rachel Taylor. It's also a really generic name. Well, I will let you take it from here.
Okay, so I have one music news item, and I've got a little tale I'm going to tell you before we get into the topic. So the music news item, this whole world of Foo Fighters, Josh Freese,
oh no,
and now Nine Inch Nails have been dragged into this. It's a mess. So, as we all know, Josh Freese was asked to leave the Foo Fighters despite probably being the best drummer they ever had. Now, I apologize to anyone who really loves Taylor Hawkins. Taylor Hawkins was an awesome drummer, but I personally felt that some of the live stuff with Josh Freese was the best the Foos has ever sounded, personally speaking. And that's that's no offense to Taylor Hawkins or the fans of his. I thought it did something to the music and it really made it good for me. But anyhow, obviously he was probably the best drummer in the band and he's better than Dave Grohl, so Dave Grohl let him go. And he has gone back to the band Nine Inch Nails. Now, he used to play in Nine Inch Nails a number of years ago, and I think he's not necessarily a member of Nine Inch Nails, but certainly in a touring capacity, he's played with those before. However, Nine Inch Nails had a drummer, a guy called Leon Rubin, who's been their drummer for quite some time. He announced the fact that he was leaving Nine Inch Nails, and people were like, that's interesting. He's been gigging with them for years and years and years. I wonder what's going on. Well, there's been no official statement. However, every news source ever is saying that the Nine Inch Nails drummer, Leon Rubin, is the new drummer in the Foo Fighters.
I mean, I guess you could say life really always does come full circle, Tim.
Yeah, so it's like it's just gone on a big swapperoo, really.
I mean, if they feel like they fit the bands more, I guess. I don't know, Tim. I don't know what's with the drummer drama recently, but it feels like it's hot.
I don't know. I mean, it's drummer-tastic. It's literally all over the place. But I don't know. Both of those gentlemen have got gigs now, and we hope that they're happy. We hope that it's going to work out for them.
Maybe it's for the best. Who knows? Maybe they're a better fit. Because I think some of this really does come down to who fits personality-wise. Because like bands are like anything else in life, even when it comes to work. And I work in HR, and I shouldn't say this, but a lot of times the people who do the best in environments are just the people who can get along with the people they work with.
Yeah,
and that's just 100%. The truth. Culture matters. It does. And so maybe they swap because they fit better with the other people. That'd be my theory.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Freese, amazing drummer, very easy to get on with, very professional, doesn't kick up any kind of fuss by all accounts. This is my understanding. He gets lots of work. He's played with lots of high-profile acts. He's always in demand. However, maybe he used... I mean, you don't know what went on, but it's probably something like that Josh Freese. Why does he bring KFC to practice? I told him not to bring that chicken in the room. I hate the smell of it. and that would be... That's it.
And if he just doesn't listen and it's an ongoing problem, and you guys laugh, but Tim is not wrong. As an HR manager, do you know how many weird things I've had to investigate? And it could be something so simple as one thing this person is doing just gets on others' nerves.
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
And as we've said before, bands don't have an HR department. The Foo Fighters is Dave Grohl's thing. And if Dave doesn't like it, things change, and that's how it works.
I mean, and he's an interesting guy and hasn't had the best look on it. So the funny part about this is, and I feel like everybody in the world owes me an apology because I called it. Tim knows this theory.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
always said I didn't like Dave Grohl. Something about him told me he had a chip on his shoulder. Everybody's like, Joy, he goes out and helps the homeless and he does all these things and he's so great. I felt like I've been vindicated in the last year. And for those who are part of the Freak Jam Live, you remember I used to say, people would ask, well, what's that one celebrity? Or we would talk about it. I'd be like, I don't know what it is about him, but I just something about him doesn't sit right with me. And everybody's like,
Yep.
no, he's this great guy. He's this great guy. And I thought, maybe I'm just being crazy. And now I'm like,
Yep. No.
y'all should have listened.
Yep. It was all correct.
I don't know what it is, Tim. He always seemed like someone. And when you said you read his book, it kind of confirmed what I thought. He just gets a little, and maybe it's just because he's been in the industry for so long. It could just be a byproduct of being talented in the industry, hyped up, but I always just, and if he's listening, you can still come. I have my reservations. I could be wrong, but I always kind of thought he had a chip on his shoulder.
Maybe that is the
And
case.
could you imagine? Okay, this is all alleged. Please don't sue me, Foo Fighters.
They're very litigious, Joy, so I understand probably.
So they find us. I don't know. After everything we've said about Daryl Hall, he seems pretty. The Eagles, they haven't sued us yet. I think we're all right. All right, Tim. What's next?
Okay, so I have a little tale, a traveling tale, if you will. Not necessarily music related unless you count the fact that I play music, so it's sort of tenuous, but it's a travel tale. I recently had to go to England. I recently had to go to England at short notice, and I don't really want to go into the reasons for my trip. If you know me, you would know. However, I had to travel to England at short notice. So I traveled from Roanoke to Washington, D.C., and then picked up a plane in Washington, D.C., and that took me to London Heathrow Airport. All right, so I start my travel day. I get to Roanoke Airport, and I'm waiting at the gate to board my little commuter plane that's going to take about 35 minutes. And there was a chap at the counter where there was some kind of shenanigans with him where he hadn't checked his bag, or the bag was too big, or he insisted on taking his bag on the plane and it wouldn't go in the hold. And it was a whole thing. And the guy at the gate, and he was going, whoa, blah, blah, blah. And the guy at the gate said, yeah, well, I'm the one who decides whether you fly and you don't fly today. And it started getting a bit heated. So the guy goes away, a police officer comes up, and this guy reappears with his belongings in a brand new like satchel type bag stuffed in. And then the gate agent said, what happened to your suitcase? And he says, I dumped it. Now, bearing in mind, Roanoke Airport is tiny.
Yeah, and it's like you can get through the whole thing in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, for 2 minutes, actually.
Yeah, you're right. I remember when I flew from, yeah, you're right. Last time I flew from there, I flew to Salt Lake City. I think it took me 3 seconds to get through the gate.
Yeah. So all this was kicking off. And then he said, and then I heard the guy say, yeah, no, I make the decisions. You're not flying today. And then this police officer was there. So anyhow, they start boarding and this conversation is still going. And I board the plane, get on the plane. And I thought, well, all these troubles are behind me. Let's get in the sky. So we get on the plane, we all sit down. And obviously this chap doesn't board. And they're just about to close the door when two people on the plane decide that they need to get off.
Okay.
I was like, oh, goodness me. Now, bearing in mind, I have a 1 hour and 30-minute connection
Of course you do.
between that landing in Washington,
Never
D.C.
happens when you got 7 hours, right?
Yeah, and me catching a plane for London.
Yeah.
So the two people get off the plane, then, of course, they have to pull their luggage. So by the time all that faffing about is done and the door is closed and they get on the runway, we're probably 35 minutes, almost 40 minutes late at this point. So we get to Washington, D.C., and we're already very late. And so you're taxiing to get to the gate, and that part seems to take forever. And we haven't even got to the gate yet. And I get a text message from United, and it says, good news, your plane is now boarding, gate C4. And I'm like, oh, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to make it.
Mm-mm.
So we eventually get to the gate. They open the door.
Tim's already accepted his fate that he's going to be rowing a boat to England at this point.
Yes. Now, the distance between gate A4 and C4, if you are just walking, is at least 25 minutes. That's if
Oh
you're
no.
walking.
Okay.
And they tell you that it's there are opposite ends of the airport, and you have to get a train between the gates. You know,
And
like
that's
one
a
of those,
busy trip. That's a busy airport for sure.
yeah. So that I was afraid I was going to miss boarding this plane, and it was very important I got on that one because I didn't know if there was another one leaving that day. So, I mean, I'm in reasonably good shape. However, I'm not running running for 2 miles nearly through an airport good shape. So I come off the air bridge. I said to the one of the folks in the airport, I said, "What way is the sea gates?" And the lady said, "That way." And I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran
I've
down
had to do this
escalators,
before.
travelators, corners, this, that, and the other.
Reading all the signs as you go, hoping for the best.
Got to the train station. Had a breather for like 1 minute. The train came, and of course, the train takes 2 minutes between stops.
Yeah.
Fine. So I'm resting there, and I get to the other end, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and it's like round the corner escalator, and it's like it's never ending. This thing is never ending. And then eventually, I see in the very distance sea gates, and I see like where it says sea. But I've never been like a competitive runner, as you would probably imagine.
Really, Tim? I thought that was your passion.
But I've heard people talk about the wall when you just cannot run anymore, physically cannot run anymore. And I could almost see the sea gates in the distance, and I was like, my legs will not allow me to run anymore. So I just stopped, and I started just walking at a pace that I could do. And then I let that go for a while, and I ran a bit, and I walked, and I ran a bit, and I walked. And then eventually, as I'm walking, I see up in the distance the sea gates, and the very first one is C4, which is my gate. And there's a huge line of people, because this is a flight that's going to London, and it holds 500 odd people.
And those are the ones they always have the people on standby as well. Every time you fly from America to Europe, there's almost always like 1,000 people trying to get on that plane.
This was the line for people who were boarding.
Yeah.
So I get to the end of the line, and there was a very friendly couple in front. I said to the lady, I said, "Is this the flight to London?" She says, "Yes." And she says, "You're right." And I'm like, I couldn't even speak. I was so out of
I'm
breath.
trying not to have a heart attack. Thank you, ma'am.
So luckily, right beside where the gate is was a shop that sold water. So I bought a massive bottle of water, and I drank almost half of it. And then, so I got on the plane just in the nick of time. All right. So I'm flying to London. Now, as you know, if you fly typically from the US to the UK, it's done overnight. And what they do on a night red-eye flight, as they call it, they turn all the cabin lights off and they close all the shutters on the windows.
It's freezing cold the entire time you're on.
Yeah, well, they give you a blanket. But so people were allowed to sleep if they want to.
Yeah.
So normally, if I'm on an aeroplane, I normally take my glasses off. I don't really need my glasses that much, though I wear them all the time out of convenience. But I took them off and I clipped them, not to the little pocket in the seat, but above that there was like a wallet place where the safety information for the aircraft was.
Yes,
so
and they've got the advertised magazines and stuff.
Sky Mall, probably. Assuming you're flying in 1992, you'd be thumbing your way through a copy of Sky Mall.
The last time I flew, there was something in there, Tim, advertising something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I clipped my glasses to that. So anyway, I was listening to my audiobook. I was listening to my music. And then I tried to get a few hours in. And at some point, I got up to use the lavatory. And I was in the aisle. And my
Probably all the water you drank.
Yeah. And the guy beside me seemed like a nice enough guy. He got up to use the bathroom too. I came back and I noticed my glasses are missing. They're gone. Completely gone.
Oh, no.
So I thought, well, they couldn't have gone far. I mean, they're not.
Were you looking around to see if they're on the floor or something?
Yeah, they're not falling out the window or anything. So I thought, well, this is going to be easy enough. I get my phone, get my older flashlight going, look on the floor, no sign of the glasses. And then the guy beside me said, "Oh, what are you looking for?" I said, "Oh, I have my glasses clipped here and I can't find them." And he said, "Oh, let me have a look for you." So he's having a look. And absolutely
were they
nothing.
on his face?
No.
Oh.
So at this point, a flight attendant walks past and she says to me, "What are you looking for?" I said, "Well, my glasses were here." And I said, "I think they'd probably been knocked off when we got up and I can't find it." "Oh, let me have a look." She gets her phone out. Everywhere, no sign of these glasses. And I'm thinking, I've got a 2-week trip ahead of me and it's not going to be fun without these glasses.
Were they on your face, Tim?
No, I'd already checked that. And then she said, well,
I love it. You're like, I make sure.
yeah, I did do that. And then she said, well, she said they haven't gone anywhere. They must be here somewhere. She said in a few hours, we're going to turn the lights up for breakfast. Yeah. And she said, when the lights come up, she said, let's have another look. So anyhow, so I was
worried somebody would step on them.
Yeah. So I was very concerned about this glasses business. Mm-hmm. And then the lights came up. And then when the lights came up, I looked down the aisle. My glasses were 5 or 6 seats ahead.
How?
And they were just like tucked in like to where someone was sitting.
Did you have turbulence?
No. Well, I think what happened is they got knocked off and then someone just kicked them in the dark.
Well, at least they didn't break them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grabbed them and that was good. So that was one part of the shenanigans on the flight. The second part, during the glasses missing period. So I'm lying there in my seat. I think I listened to my audio book for a bit. And I had a little blanket around me because, like you say, it's cold.
Yeah. I'd rather be cold than hot, though, for sure.
Trying to get a few hours of sleep in. So I'm there, and it's very quiet. Everyone has stuff on headphones, and a lot of people are napping. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, there's a sound that goes... and it sounded like the window was open is the best way I can describe it.
No. Their world's worst fear on a plane.
Yeah, really loud. Really, really loud. And then it stopped. And like you're half awake, half asleep, and you think, what's this going on? And then it happened again really loud.
Great.
And it's a bit longer this time.
Good.
And then it stopped.
Oh, no.
And then there was nothing. And I thought, I don't know what that is, whatever. And then it started up again, and it did not stop. And that's exactly what it sounded like. That's how someone punched a window out is the best way I could describe it.
It sounded like air, basically.
Yeah. And a lot of people started to sort of look around and see what was happening. And then I noticed a couple of flight attendants running backwards and forwards through the aisles.
Oh, no. When the flight attendant gets nervous, that's when you know it's bad.
Yeah. And I thought, this is not good. And what it turns out it was that just behind us was the lavatories. And as you know, in an aircraft lavatory, it's done by suction.
Yeah.
And it was either jammed or something was jammed in it. And it was just constantly
running,
doing its suck cycle. So what happened is that one of the flight attendants went in and he jammed something in it or did something with it or isolated it or something. And then it made it stop. Then he put a big barrier over it saying bathroom closed.
I mean, that's better than a hole in the wall that you could have been sucked out of.
Absolutely. So that's that. So I go to England. Then when I come back...
we haven't even came back yet, y'all.
Yeah. I came back. Flight from Heathrow to Washington, D.C. was fine. Flight from Washington, D.C. was fine too. I mean, it was a little hot on that little commuter plane coming back. But, I made my connection.
In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that big.
Yeah, everything was fine. Until I get to Roanoke. So I get to Roanoke.
You could have just drove home at that point, Tim.
Well, yeah. I mean...
I was thinking, why are you not flying again? Continue, guys. That was dumb.
So I've got to Roanoke, which is where I've been collected to go home.
Which is your destination.
Which is my destination. And I get to the baggage carousel, and guess what's not on the carousel?
Your luggage.
Yay!
Okay.
So it's about 7:00, and then there was several of us who didn't have their luggage, including some kind of professional people who had lots of like little flight cases that said Lee Hartman on them. Lee Hartman is a local Roanoke-based company that do audio-visual stuff, and they had maybe 30 little small flight cases.
So probably expensive stuff, though.
Yeah, so and they probably paid extra to have this stuff on this flight.
Okay.
So then I went to the United desk to report my missing luggage, which, is normally a straightforward operation. Apart from our friends who were doing a professional job had to list every single piece that we'd gone missing. And I had to wait for an hour to see the guy to report my missing luggage.
I mean, in their defense, that's a bad situation to be in. They probably didn't want to be there either. No,
absolutely. I've got no beef with the people reporting their missing little miniature flight cases. That's not fine. But I've been traveling all day. I've probably been up for 23 plus hours at this point. I just want to go home and I need to get my luggage sorted.
And if you've ever flown from America to Europe, I'm sorry, Tim, it's a rough flight. It is. It's just either way. Every time I've ever done it, you're just exhausted.
Yeah. So anyhow, I finally get to the queue. I report my luggage missing, and I said to him, "Will it be on the 11 p.m. flight into Roanoke?" He said, "Probably, though I don't know." And the reason my luggage was not there because it got bumped due to weight. They arbitrarily bumped people's luggage because the aircraft was too heavy.
Ah, would have been nice for them to tell you.
Exactly.
I mean,
So,
some type of heads up.
so I go home. So on the way home, what did I have to do? I had to go to Food Lion, buy deodorant, razors, toothpaste,
All the
stuff.
things that you need to live for the next few days.
Yeah, I should have been more prepared, but this was a last minute trip. Anyhow, so
That's life.
because I was on UK time or something and tired and jet lagged and
Mentally not there.
discombobulated, I went to bed about 10 p.m., 10:30. And I woke up bright as a button at 4:20 a.m.
What's weird to me and what stuck out to me, Tim, when we went to Greece the last time I went over was I fully wasn't ready for the fact that like I was going to go back a day. Do you know what I mean, Tim? Because they're almost what, 6 hours ahead of us, right?
6 hours, yeah.
7 hours, 6 hours. I don't know what Greece is exactly, but I came back and I like had to go to work that Monday, right, Tim?
Yeah.
I flew in on what was like almost Sunday, and then I got back and it was Saturday. I was like, oh my God, I got an extra day before I have to go back to work. But it really does throw you. Like I did not real. I mean, I knew it, but it didn't really register with me. You know what I'm saying, Tim?
Sure. So anyhow, I wake up at 4:20 a.m. My plan the previous evening was to drive to Roanoke Airport after work and collect my suitcase. My plan at 4:20 a.m. was to get in the shower, eat a small piece of breakfast, drive to Roanoke, and collect my luggage that morning.
Before work.
Yeah. So I got in the shower. I left home at 5 a.m. I drove to Roanoke. There was nothing on the roads.
It's only 40 minutes, really.
I knew someone would be on the United desk at Roanoke Airport because the first flight of the day is 6:20 a.m. So I knew someone would be there.
Fair enough.
So I get there and I grabbed my luggage and then I drove home. Well, actually, I drove straight to work and I was sitting at my desk at 7 a.m.
And everybody's like, oh, look, Tim's here bright and early.
No, I was there before absolutely everybody. It was me and the folks who worked the 24-hour program in the building, and that was it.
And the cleaners, probably. I don't know. But yeah, I could see how that would work, though. It's almost like you just want to get it over with.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think. I want this stuff and I want it back. And there was stuff in there I really wanted that made sure I had that didn't go missing. So I went and got it. I bought it back. We're in good shape. Needless to say, I have another UK trip coming up in a few weeks. Again, if you know me, you know why. Are
you going to check a bag or are you going to put it on the flight with you?
Yeah, well, again, if you know me, you know why, but I'm not going to go into it here.
Yeah, of course.
So I have to go back to England again for another week. And this is what I've done. One, this trip is planned. So it was a lot cheaper, as you would imagine, rather than just booking it on the day and flying on the day. I bought a new suitcase because the suitcase I had was kind of tatty anyway. I'm going to have replacement toiletries and the like in the house and in the suitcase, so I'll be fully equipped.
Fair enough.
And most importantly than that, I've purchased an Apple AirTag.
To put right on that bag.
Yeah. So if it gets left behind, I will be the first person to know. When I go to the United desk, I can say my AirTag says it's currently a gate blah at DC Airport.
See, you're better. So when my husband had to fly out short notice because we had a family member pass away, he was like, the only flight he could get was Spirit Airlines, Tim. Let's start right there. Spirit Airlines. You're off to a great start. And Charlie is so cheap, he didn't want to check a bag. This man wore multiple layers of clothing.
Oh, crikey.
And I thought that's what you're going to say. You were going to check a bag. I've been very lucky. I don't know, 6, 7 times or so I flew across the United States to Europe, back and forth. I've never had a bag be lost. Now, my twin sister, Brandy, when she went to Mexico, I think probably 2007, she did lose her bag. That was one of those trips where like everything that could go wrong went wrong, including they had to like taxi in, their plane had to be pulled back because it like ran out of fuel. It was the whole thing. And I remember So they had put in like a ticket for everybody to get their, whenever their bag was available, that they would deliver it to you. These people showed up. I don't know who these people are that they hire from the airport, Tim, but somebody showed up at our house at like 3 a.m. and brought her bag to her.
Yeah, it's like I've already looked into this. There's a third party company that the
I'm
airlines
sure it's a
contract with.
contractor, yeah. But we were just like, and here, like, here's your bag. And Trey was like, Brady was like, oh, okay. Well, nobody told us they were coming. This person just stayed on our doorstep in Galax, Virginia, with Brady's bag.
Crikey.
It was just kind of funny because and we lived in, for those who don't know, Galax, Virginia is literally the middle of nowhere. Tim could testify to this.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived in the boonies. And so it was kind of weird to have this airport person. I mean, good on them. They made true to their, their word that they were going to bring them their bags, and they did.
Yep.
Now, Charlie, my husband, had one of his bags stolen off a Greyhound. He never got that back.
Crikey.
He did get I think $200 from him, but Charlie was young and dumb and had money in it, Tim. And the money he had in it was more than the money they paid him for the whole bag. And it was all the money he had to his name at that time. But anyway, you live and you learn, Maybe don't put a bunch of cash in your bag on a Greyhound, Tim. That's my word of advice for this podcast. Also, Tim's word of advice is get an air tag if you're flying.
Absolutely, 100%. Anyhow, that was a lot of preamble to the actual topic that we're going to talk about. But we do have a topic. It's my topic this week. And this one is interesting, sort of, and a little bit of a game for joy.
Oh, no. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so I keep on my phone, for no apparent reason, a list of great band names. I've been doing this for many years now.
Of course you do.
Myself and my manager at work would be talking about something, and then you might jokingly say, "Oh, that's a great band name." Mm-hmm. And this went on for a while, and then I started documenting them. And I've been documenting the great band names in a list that I call great band names that I keep on my phone. And I've shown it to a few people, and they're thoroughly entertained by this. Okay. And Jennifer and David, the keyboard player Jennifer and the sound guy David in Nightwings, think this is hilarious. And now Jennifer will send me a text randomly sometimes and go, "Oh, have you thought of blah, blah, blah as a band name? You should put it on your list."
Amazing. I love it. All right. Well, where's this going? What does this have to do with me?
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the list of my great band names. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say the great band name of a band that doesn't exist. And then what I want you to do is tell me the kind of music you think that would be, and then give me a song example of a band that already exists.
Okay, I love it. I feel like this is actually really fun. All right, let's do this.
Okay, so I'm going to start here. I mean, some of these names are maybe not appropriate for the No Name Music Cast because people say things like, "Yeah, I'll put that down."
Okay, well, we'll skip those.
Exactly. All right, so the first one, I'm going to read it on the list, is the band Risky Activities.
Risky Activities. I mean, to me, that sounds very 80s hair band.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm thinking a little bit of Risky Business type thing. So if I were going to put a band out there, I mean, I feel like it would be somebody who would sing like Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's either something like Poison, some 80s hair metal band, or it's a bunch of 60-year-old geezers who play in a pub band somewhere.
I mean, it could really go either way, to be completely honest. But I instantly thought, Don't Need Nothing But a Good Time type vibe.
Yeah. But I mean, Poison could have been called Risky Activities easily.
Isn't Poison a risky activity? Like, if you're drinking poison, I feel like that is a risky activity.
That is very true. I hadn't quite thought of it like that.
Like, poison is a risky activity. All right, what's our next one?
Okay, number 2. Where are we? Context clues.
Oh, context clues makes me feel like it's like an early 2000s pop punk kind of band. Maybe something like My Chemical Romance, or 1984 by Bowling for Soup. Stacey's Mom has got it going on. Fountains of Wayne. When I hear context clues, it sounds like for me something I would have come up with in the early 2000s for my band. Because I told you my band was called Control Issues, which I guess could be a context clue too.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that, 100%. But for me, context clues, I think it's like a Rush type band.
That could be it too.
Like
yeah.
a progressive rock, clever
You think they're
progressive
going to be
rock.
Tom Sawyering it out here?
Yeah, but accessible, clever progressive rock. Not something like Dream Theater, which, in my opinion, is completely unlistenable.
It's just nonsense, to be honest.
Yeah, but like Rush is like really complex, clever music played by incredibly skilled musicians, but they make music that's accessible.
It's interesting. We took it in two different ways, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you could say that that's definitely like our personas or like what we think of. But when I hear that, it almost sounds like somebody who thinks they're being smart by making it their band name, but they're really not that smart.
Yeah.
Kind of like Bowling for Soup. It's not that smart of a band name, but it kind of sounds like somebody who's being a little bit cheeky. That's how I took that.
Absolutely.
All right, what's the next one? This is fun, though. I like this.
Okay. So this is one that was given to me by the bass player in Flagger Hill, a band which I'm no longer a member of, but I'm still friendly with the bass player.
Flagger Hill is still the weirdest name for a band I've ever heard.
Absolutely. But I never thought it was a good name at the time. But and now I'm out of it. I would still agree. I think it's a very ridiculous name for a band. But what are you going to do?
All right.
Okay. So this is one that he has had in his sort of a band name lexicon for some time, waiting to have a band project he could attach it to. And this is $5 Banana.
$5 Banana. That sounds like a band that was very so there's a very specific genre I'm imagining, and it's that Euro pop kind of stuff that happened maybe early 90s, early 2000s. Like the Cascadia, what's that song that everybody likes? That was like everywhere for like 5 minutes. But it reminds me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
What is it? What is that called, Tim? It's almost like Daft Punk all around the world kind of vibes too.
Yeah. I know the song you mean, but yes, 100%.
Cascadia. Hold on, I'm looking it up, guys. We're gonna Google it because that's gonna drive me insane, and I'm gonna scream it at you guys all in a minute, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, it's Joy screaming ass again." Song from the 90s. What is that song? Every time we touch, I get this feel. That's what that sounds like. Because Cascadia in and of itself, but it sounds like, or like Rednecks, like you remember the Rednecks band from
Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe with the X. That's what that sounds like to me. Like it would be played in some 90s, or Because of the Night. Cascadia had that other song called Because of the Night. That's the vibe I get, Tim, from the banana reference.
Yeah, like if you was in some nightclub somewhere and it didn't play like house and stuff, it played party music, basically. Stuff like if you went to Ibiza, somewhere like that, and they played some dance pop music, and it was by $5 Banana. It wouldn't seem out of sorts.
It wouldn't. And what's so interesting to me is I sent Tim this funny video, and this is not to insult anybody who's in. I love this music. I lived at I live, love, and love Cascadia. So don't take it like this. But it's funny when you hear some of these like Eastern European kind of bands, right, Tim, that did this, and like there would be like some of you can tell that they spoke English, but the context doesn't really match. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like there'd just be like random English words. Yeah. And then when you watch the music video, it's like it's always a guy and a girl, and they're singing back and forth in the music. And so it would make sense to me that these random sets of words. What was the whole name, Tim, with the banana?
$5 Banana.
$5 Banana would fit that so well because you know how like they would just say like random words, and sometimes they didn't quite get the grammar in English. So $5 Banana. I hope that makes sense to you. Do I sound crazy, or do you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, $5 bananas.
That's what I hear when I hear that. Somebody out there is screaming at me right now. It's not to be insulting, but you all know what I'm talking about. It was just like Like they kind of got it, but there was like a missing element to the
Yeah,
English
I mean,
grammar.
people who live in Europe who speak perfect English with an accent are
You
to be
mean the
cele
people from England who spoke English before
No,
us?
people from Europe. I mean, those folks are to be celebrated. The fact that they can speak two languages fluently, and if they flub the odd
Absolutely.
word up here and there, I'm not even
No,
fussed
I'm
about
not even
that.
meaning like that. What was crazy to me though is when I was in Greece, Tim, and we were at like the tourist traps, right? Like by all the major areas. How many languages the literal people who were running the bus back and forth could speak, Tim? I would see these people, they have to be the smartest, most intelligent, most amazing people in the world because they would have so many tourists from all over and they would just be switching English, Italian, Spanish. You know, I'm like, how are they doing? And it was like it was nothing to them. And I'm like, you guys, like, how? Americans, we could never.
Yeah, I follow a blogger on Instagram. She's from Croatia. She speaks
Mm-hmm.
Croatian, obviously, but she also speaks English perfectly and has recently learned Spanish.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I was like, I just remember sitting there. We were like at the Parthenon, right? And just
Hmm.
sitting there or whatever, something close to the Parthenon. Like you guys get what I'm saying, Olympia, something. And there was like these tourists, and they were tour bus drivers because there was buses coming in and out, in and out. Let's take away the romantic side of it, and you know what I mean, Tim. When you go to the actual tourist part, there's buses, and I literally watched this one guy, and I saw him there twice because we there was a bus stop that we would take that would like land us there and then you take a bus to go out to the ocean or whatever. And
Hmm.
the hop on, hop off buses were like $20 compared to like buying a taxi cab. It was cheaper. It was. And
Yeah.
so it all made sense for us to do it. And I mean, this man had to speak at least 10 languages, Tim, and that's not a joke. And he like fluently would just swap to them because people would be coming up and asking him questions like, where's this? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it was just like, it was nothing to him. I was mesmerized, impressed, and mesmerized. I was like, I could never.
Yeah.
So don't take it as an insult, guys. That the grammar wasn't quite right. That's what it makes me think of when I hear $5 banana.
There we are. Okay, well, let me get on to the next one. Now, I have a very clear idea of this next band
Okay.
name, what it would be. So I'm interested to know what your interpretation of this is. The band's name, the pretend band that doesn't exist name,
Okay.
is called Let Jessica Know.
Hmm. Let Jessica. I get like maybe like a Janie's got a gun, Guns and Roses feel from that, and I don't know that that's where Tim's going, but Let Jessica Know is what I think of.
Well,
That's what I think.
I would tell you
Or
what
Aerosmith. I mean, Janie's got a gun, Aerosmith, and then Guns N' Roses is also one that comes to mind.
yeah, I've always thought this is one of the early ones on my list.
Hmm.
And I always thought Let Jessica Know would be a 60s inspired jangle pop band.
Really? I mean, I guess I could see, like, are we saying, like, what do you mean by jangle pop? Because, like,
Well,
let
you
me
imagine
make
like
see.
a contemporary music act that's
Uh-huh.
very influenced by 60s music, which maybe
Oh,
has like a 12-string Rickenbacker guitar in it. Maybe similar
Bruno
to,
Mars did a whole section of that at one
yeah,
point.
maybe you think of like very early Bangles, not like when they went, not
Oh,
Walk Like an Egyptian Bangles, but like early jangle pop
that's not where
Bangles.
I went with that. I was thinking, like, Aerosmith, Janie's got a gun for some reason.
Yeah, that's if I was going to form my own band, I would call it Let Jessica Know, I think.
Just to know. I also thought of, I don't know if Tim will get this reference, but there's a song, it's Scotty Doesn't Know, but it's not a real song. It was made for a movie. Do you know that song, Tim? Scotty Doesn't Know?
No, I don't think I know that one.
So let me see what movie it is. Hold on. Scotty Doesn't Know. It was for a movie, a Euro Trip, the movie Euro Trip from like the
Okay.
early 2000s. There's a fake band in it, and literally the song is saying Scotty doesn't know his girlfriend cheating on him, right? Like that's the song. So when you said that, I also thought of that, but it's not a real song. So like I couldn't really tell you that one. But that was the other thing that came to mind was Scotty doesn't know. So interesting to think though, like as soon as you said it, my brain instantly thought Guns N' Roses, but then I instantly went to Janie's Got a Gun, and I don't know why. Maybe I thought Jessica knows Janie's got a gun. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's weird to see how your brain though connects it differently than mine does, Tim.
Yep.
All right, what's the next one? This
Okay.
is fun.
So I don't have a clear thought on where this band would be. This is the band Professor Electricity.
Pastoral Electricity. It feels like a makeup band that Prince made. And I know that sounds weird, but you know how like Prince had alternate names and did different things and like whatever. It's giving me like Prince, Electric Life, you know what I mean, kind of thing for some reason. When you say that, it's giving me Prince. Yeah, that's what I think of when I hear that. Say the name again, Tim.
Professor Electricity.
Professor Electricity. That's what I feel like it's a made up persona from Prince. Because couldn't you see him having a made up persona called Professor Electricity?
I think so. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it's a jump, but that's what I heard when you said it.
Yeah, I'm still on the. See, I don't know whether I would go with that or whether I would think of something like a band like Kraftwerk.
I could see both those things. What song are you relating to that, though?
If it was Kraftwerk, it would be something like Autobahn.
Yeah, that makes sense. It could be that "Ça plaint pour moi." Do you remember that song? Does that make sense to you? The song in French, the song about the cat with the milk. Oh my God, Tim's looking at me like I'm crazy. There's a song. It's in French. "Ça plaint pour moi, 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 ça plaint pour moi," and he's literally singing about his cat knocking over the milk. Okay, well, that exists. What is that band called though? "Ça plaint pour moi." I'm googling it. It's by Plastic. Bertard, I don't know how to say that word. It's a Belgian musician. You've never heard that song, Tim?
I've been to Belgium, but no, I've never heard the musician.
It's from 1977, and literally the song is talking about your cat knocking over your milk. And it's in French, and it's like "Ça plaint pour moi." It's literally 3 chords through the whole thing. It's the most simple song ever. But what's funny is it's like "Wham Bam, my cat splashed something about milk, and he drank all my whiskey." That's the song. I gotta play that song for Tim now because I can also see this being that song. All right, Tim thinks I'm crazy. It exists though. I feel like that had to be more famous in Europe than it did in. I can't believe you didn't know that. It's from the 70s.
No,
it feels right up your. It feels right up your alley. Wait, hold on. We're gonna Google this. Let's see here. The music is also used in the 1977 song "Jet Boy, Jet Girl." Don't know what that is. The song's been covered by many artists, though the original recording was the most successful, reaching number 8 in the UK single charts in 1978. While it's regarded as a punk rock song, "Ça plaint pour moi" has also been described as new wave, because that's what I would describe it as. It's got that new wave feel, Tim. So there you go. I could see that song also being from this band. But whatever it is, put it in French. I don't know how to say what Tim said in French. I just can't believe you've never heard that song.
No,
I'm gonna have to make you listen to it.
I've never heard that one.
It was even on top of the pops, according to this. I don't know how you didn't know. Well, there you go.
There we are.
Tim, we're going to cancel your card that says you weren't born in America because you don't know "Ça plaint pour moi." All right, what's next?
Okay, I have a good idea of what this would be. This is Long Tortured Colon.
You have a good idea of what that would be? Long tortured colon. I keep thinking like Pearl Jam.
Maybe
because it just sounds dark. I feel like Jeremy Pearl Jam or something is what comes to mind when I hear that. Or like Soundgarden.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I was thinking Long Tortured Colon would be a metal band.
Oh, yeah,
like
that's true.
Like Danzig or something like that.
It could even be like Nine Inch Nails, too.
Yeah, even Nine Inch Nails. Long Tortured Colon.
That's the same amount of syllables. Isn't it?
Nine Inch Nails, Long Tortured Colon.
There you go, Nine Inch Nails, everybody.
Let's hope the drummer from Long Tortured Colon is safe. Let's check in on the drummer.
Apparently, it's a bad time to be a drummer in modern day music from bands from the 90s. Specifically, bands from the 90s. No, I take back what I said. Now that I said that, it does sound like it could be a Nine Inch Nails band. I mean, they definitely could do that.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit heavier, more grungy.
I mean, you're probably not wrong. I mean, Slash could definitely play in that band too, though. I could see that going both ways.
I think so.
All right, what's the next one? I'm having too much fun with this.
Okay, right. The next one I have is Plastic Potpourri, or Potpourri, depending however you say it.
Classic Potpourri. That also sounds like the poor soft plan poor moi guy. Mostly because his name was Plastic Bernard's Heart or whatever. Classic Potpourri. Classic Potpourri. I mean, that's giving early 80s synth pop to me, but I don't know what band I associate it with. I mean, could even be like the Cars or something.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that new wave sound.
Yeah, like I could definitely hear like the Cars or something having that band. But Plastic for some reason makes me think of the 80s and I can't tell you why. Maybe
Yeah,
there's a lot of Plastic in the 80s. I don't know.
I was thinking more psychedelic. I was thinking more Jimi Hendrix Experience, more
That could be it too.
Cream, that sort of inspired music. Like
Definitely
if
could be
you,
like even like the Zombies or something.
yeah, like if you said Purple Haze as performed by Plastic Potpourri. I mean,
Maybe I'm just stuck in the 80s in this episode because I feel like everything I've referenced is the 80s. It is Tim's favorite time though, so that could also be it.
that is true.
Maybe I need to expand my horizons from the 80s to the 60s and the 70s. I don't know. It's giving me synth pop, maybe like the Cars or something. All
Yeah,
right.
I can see that.
What's the next one, Tim? How much time do we have left, by the way? Because we
Oh,
talked for a lot at the beginning of the...
we got time for a few more.
Okay. 3 or 4 more. Let's go.
Okay. So this one I came up with, and I was very pleased with this. Like, I think if I had a band that played a certain kind of music, I'd be very pleased with this name.
Okay.
It's Funkmaus, but spelled Funkmaus. Funkmaus.
Funkmaus. I mean, it's got to be a funk type of music, which when I think of funk, there's only one man I think of, and you know what I'm going with, don't you, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of. I mean, it's got to be like Parliament, Give Up the Funk or something. Maybe Rick James or Funkadelic, One Nation Under a Groove. It's got to be a funk band, though. Even the Commodores, Brick House.
Yeah, I was thinking somewhere in the middle. I mean, they're basically the same thing, but somewhere in the middle of Jamiroquai and Stevie Wonder.
Well,
Funkmaus.
Jamiroquai is one of those people that really was playing into that. And it's so funny because there was an episode. I don't know if you remember this, Tim, but I remembered it. I could not remember what that guy's name was. And we were talking. And I was like, he did that song, that one song that was super popular for like 5 minutes, and everything in the room was moving. And Tim was like, Jamiroquai. And I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah,
I could not remember.
virtual insanity. And the person you were looking for is called JK.
Yes. But it was just so funny because I literally all I told Tim was he did a song that was popular and there was things moving in the room and he was walking on the walls and Tim got it. It's like the dumbest explanation, but it was a very distinct music video, right? Like I'm not crazy. Like it stood out to me as a distinct music video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just funny. That could be it too. I mean, you could even do like funk's hard because like I feel like to define funk is very you could have anything from like lip sync to the Parliament, Get Up the Funk, you know?
Yeah.
And anything in between. But it has to be one of those kind of bands for that band, Tim.
Yeah.
Would you be in a funk band, Tim?
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I'd love to be in a funk band.
I love there's some local funk bands. I sent them to Tim. I like whenever I've seen them and they do like the, you know, where they don't end the song, but they have some type of like segue, and it's always the funk bands that have those cool breakdowns where they play from one song to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that vibe. I think it makes a fun kind of experience for the people in the audience too, because the song never really ends in a way, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, as much as local bands think it's fun to like chatter, sometimes I don't always enjoy the back and forth. It's not as fun as I think it is, especially for a local band. Like it's not like Elton John talking to me or something.
No.
So sometimes we need to remind them they're not Elton John. Also, drum solos are overrated. I said what I said.
I would agree with that. I've been in bands with people who play drum solos, and maybe it's because I'm jaded because I hear it every time we play a gig. But like, yeah,
No, I'm not jaded, and it's good for like 30 seconds, but then it's like, great, you can hit sticks and make bangy noises. Can we move along?
Yeah, be like Stuart Copeland. Like as we said, this song, every little thing she does is magic. He is playing an amazing drum solo piece all the way through that song. However, he makes it fit in the context of a really accessible pop song. And if you actually see that video that's on YouTube of him playing it just by himself with the music really low, it is amazing. But he gets to do all that stuff in a 4 minute pop song that everybody
Yes.
knows.
And I think that that's the way you have to do it because it's not anything personal. It's that like humans are naturally, especially when it comes to music, and especially when you're at a venue and people are drinking and they're having fun and they want to dance and they just want to hear what's familiar to them in some way. It just loses its fun. Oh, another song, what we were talking about the funk thing is Jungle Boogie. It could totally be Jungle Boogie too, based off of what you just said for that
Yeah,
band.
Funkmaus, yeah.
Yep, there we go. All right, Jungle Boogie is my final answer.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next one?
Okay. A favorite of mine, Recumbent Pigeon.
Pigeon.
Recumbent Pigeon.
Ah, that's giving like folk band to me for some reason.
Yeah, I could see that. Folky men with beards sitting around. One has a fiddle, one has a tambour, and one's
Yes.
playing a banjo.
Yeah,
And
it's almost like the Lumineers or the Ever Brothers or something. Simon and
probably
Garfunkel.
probably closer to the Lumineers than it would be at the Everly Brothers. But yes, Recumbent Pigeon.
Or even like Mumford and Sons back in the day.
Yep.
Maybe if you're really gonna go old, some Cosby, Stills, and Nash and Young, teach your children. I don't know why pigeons make me think folk music. I have no reference point to why that is, but if you ever put pigeon in your name, you should do folk music. That's my 2 cents on this. Oh, there was that one band. Oh, what were they called? It's going to drive me insane. There was this band that was very popular in the early 2000s, and they did a whole series. It was like called like the Crane Wives or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that exactly fits. I mean, it's basically the Lumineers, let's be honest. Which, by the way, played years. Oh, the Violet Femmes is another one. I don't know if they're folk, but I could see them having something about a pigeon in their name.
Possibly, I could see that.
That one's a little bit of a stretch, but I could go for the Violet Femmes too.
Okay.
I don't know what pigeons have to do with folk music, too, but that's my 2 cents. All right, what's the next one?
Okay. So this one. This one comes from Jennifer in the band,
Okay.
she's a registered nurse. So she was very pleased when she was gave me this information. I didn't know this
Okay.
is what it was called. So when you have goosebumps on your arm, the medical term for that is erector pili, and you
Yes.
spell it Arrectorpili, erector pili.
Okay.
And then we was talking about this, and I said, that's a great name for a band. And I put it on my list. So Erector Pili.
I feel like Sarah is going to love this fact. Phil and Sarah, for those who don't know, Tim understands what I'm saying. By the way, apparently she got a shout out on hospital radio the other day. She wrote me and let me know.
That is fantastic.
If you've been listening for a long time, all these will come back. If you don't know, look up the hospital radio episode. All right.
All of us are very proud of Sarah, but I believe that may be the peak of her career so far.
Is that she got a shout out from hospital radio. Okay, what would the term? I mean, it sounds like a band who's trying to be like super cool and edgy. It could also be like a 60s kind of vibe, like we were saying, like psychedelic too.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it go either way. I could see it be like an early 2000 band like Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? Or I could see it be like a 60s kind of psychedelic vibe. I mean, I don't have a good answer for that, but any 60s psychedelic band that you could think of off the top of your head.
Well, do you know
Incense and peppermints. I don't know.
what's funny? I see Erector Pili as a German math metal band,
Oh, that makes
somewhere a
sense.
bit like someone a bit like Rammstein.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a whole subset of music I didn't even think about. Yeah, I can see that too. I don't know. I'll throw out Strawberry Alarm Clock, Incense and Peppermint, or something of that nature. But I really think it could go either way because it sounds like someone, heck, it could fit into anything because it does sound like someone who's almost just trying to be funny. You know what I mean? In some way, and people won't quite get it.
Sure.
So it could be any of the above. It could be a metal band too. I see
Well,
that fitting
that's
as well.
what I was thinking, like German math metal, as you say, where it's like, lots of time signatures going on, but in the style of Rammstein.
Or that Swedish metal
Pili.
out there.
Yeah, it could be Swedish metal too.
The Swedes, this, every time I think about Swedes now, because they come up all the time in my life, apparently, I just
Sure.
think about this podcast and the amount of times we talked about Swedish pop and Swedish metal. And I've literally been quoted with Tim when we've talked about it. He goes, well, there's really not much to do up there, Joy. It's cold. What else are they going to do? I think of you constantly when we've talked about it. And I'm sure it's probably in some way an insult, so I shouldn't think about it, but it's hilarious because I was like, you know what, Tim? You're probably onto something. What else are they working on up there?
I mean,
They're all happy with their.
I've only ever been to the middle bit of Sweden, really. Like Stockholm is in the kind of the north of the populated area of Sweden, but like in the top, it is just like Arctic Circle up there. But even like in Jönköping, which is like somewhere in the middle of the country, it gets so cold in the winter. But what's interesting is they're fully set up for it. Like the roads are always de-iced, public transport always runs. But if you go into a pub or a restaurant or a bar or something, they all have a coat check because everybody comes in with their massive winter coats and there's somewhere to check it.
That just makes me feel like they're living in Harry Potter world because like I think about the little bars in Harry Potter and there was a coat check, but it was like a guy who talks to you who's like a hat. That might not be related. That might just be in Harry Potter world. And when you shut the door, the bell yells at you. It says, "Close the door. It's cold." But that might just be a Harry Potter reference.
I've never seen Harry Potter, so I have no idea.
Ask Hannah about it. When they're at the Three Broomsticks, of course it's called the Three Broomsticks, right?
I mean, why wouldn't it be?
There's like a little, I think it's a bell or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. Don't quote me on this, guys. I'm just remembering. But like it's in the middle of winter and it's snowing and they all have their cloaks, right, Tim? And they have to like check in their cloaks and they're coming in. And of course it's England and 15-year-olds could just go into the bar because, and get their butter beers. I don't know if it is actually beer. But anyway, and the little character who's not a real human screaming at them to close the door because it's cold outside.
Isn't there like some business in Harry Potter with like some platform that's like some 5 and 58ths or something?
It's the platform 3 and whatever quarters or whatever. It's literally what's the main train station in England, Tim, in London?
St. Pancras Station.
Hold on, platform. Harry Potter. 3 and 4 quarters, but it's like the main train station.
Waterloo.
King's Cross.
Oh, King's Cross. There's many of them.
Station. So if you go to King's Cross in London now, right between 3 and 4, there's 3 and 4 quarters. Oh no, it's actually between 9 and 10. But anyway, but it's called 3 and 4 quarters, and like there's a placard now that says this is, and they have to run. It's 9 and 3 quarters is actually what it is. So it's between 9 and 10 quarters, right? 9 and 3 quarters, and you in the movie. There's no platform there. They run in and it like opens up. And that's part of the joke is like they're all scared to do it because it's just a brick wall. But it becomes anyway, Tim's lost. But yes.
I've never ever seen this.
It's 9 and 3 quarters. I was thinking 3 quarters. I knew it was 3 quarters, but it's 9 and 3 quarters. And it's at King's Cross Station. And then they run into the wall and it opens up and they end up in their train station anyway. But King's Cross is a real station, right? It's a real place.
100%.
Okay, I'm not crazy. But yeah, that's what it is. And then apparently when you go to bars or pubs, I guess I should say, because we're in England here, they yell at you to close the door and it's like a character screaming it at you because it's cold.
There we are.
I love, what was it I was looking at the other day? And I was looking at something and people were talking about how hot it was. And it was like 24 degrees Celsius, which for those who don't know, you add 30 degrees to get to Fahrenheit, right, Tim? 32 if you want to get fancy.
It's very confusing.
It's literally just 30. I always just add about 32 degrees. And I'm like, no, we're talking about like 60 degrees. Do you guys know in our temperature, Tim, that's like 60 to 70 degrees. Do they not know just last month it was 92, like 102? I don't want to hear it. Of course, we've talked about how they don't believe in AC, so that's part of the problem.
Yeah, in my UK trip, there is no AC anywhere.
And then I remember when we were in Greece, our hotel did have AC, but the one store that we went in that did have AC, Tim, was this weird Funko Pop store that Charlie made me to go in to buy his Funko. He Googled it before I got there in Athens so I could find his Funko Pops that he wanted, right? So I brought him home 2 Funko Pops, and I put those in my literal luggage on, like, I didn't check them. I put them in my overhead bag so they wouldn't disappear. But that one, like, shop was the one shop that had real AC. So me and my mom stood in there for so long. It stands out to me because I'm like, what do you guys have against air conditioning around here? But anyway, also no ice in any drinks.
No.
They just don't like, I don't know. It's a debate for them. Though I have heard that there are some people who are accepting the concept of AC in their homes now, Tim.
There's a whole thing in England in new builds where people have heat pumps. Pardon, they call it a geothermal heat pump, but it's the same thing.
Well, there you go. They're reaching out to the rest of the world.
Exactly.
And they're gonna get rid of the carpets in the bathrooms.
No, that will never change.
That's the grossest thing I've ever heard. All right, give me 1 or 2 more, Tim, and then we'll be done.
Okay, one more. So I've got an idea of what this is. This is a band called Dirty Ledge.
It's giving Motley Crue. It's giving Motley Crue.
Yeah,
Tim.
I was thinking probably more early Guns N' Roses when they're a little bit more, not quite so polished.
I mean, I don't know. That sounds like Tommy Lee and Nixie.
Nixie
Sticks.
Nixie are those little vacuum tubes that have numbers in them. That's a Nixie tube.
Well, Nixie over here, it's giving Wild Side Life Wire, Take Me to the Top with Nixie. Or Dr. Feelgood. Anyway, I don't know. I hear Motley Crue when I hear that.
Yeah, I see it. Motley Crue, early Guns N' Roses, Dirty
It's
Ledge.
not that simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you, Wembley would like to welcome Dirty Ledge.
It's also, it makes me feel like I'm going to need a tetanus shot. I mean, to be fair, early Motley Crue concerts, you might have needed a tetanus shot.
That is very true.
That's a valid point. It makes me laugh because I always like, I have a very visual, like, Kickstart My Heart playing at the beginning and like people just dancing. I could see how you need a tetanus shot. Do they start their concerts with Kickstart My Heart, Tim? I feel like they should. If they're not, they're missing.
I mean, if they're not, they're
It's a missed opportunity, right? I actually have no reference point if Motley Crue is still touring, are they?
They are. So Mick Mars left or was fired, depending on who you believe. John Five is the guitar player, who's an amazing guitar player. But I don't know if they're still touring at this precise moment, but they were touring up till recently.
Also, there is literally no way Mick Mars' name is actually Mick Mars. And I have a theory, Nikki. Why can't I say that? Nikki Sixx is a fake name. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain it's not their legal names.
Mick Mars' real name is Robert Allen Deal.
That's a terrible name, too, so I probably would have changed. Allen Deal? Whose last name is Deal?
I don't know.
Did you know, like, okay, this sounds so stupid, but Tim, like, you can kind of, like, reference how people's names. So my last name is Morrison, and that comes from the son of Morris. Or if your last name's Farmer, it's probably likely that your family were farmers. Like, we know this. That's how surnames were handed down, right? Mm-hmm. From England, from Ireland, from Scotland, yada, yada. What was this family doing making deals? Like, what was he doing to get that last name?
I don't know. Well, I can also tell you that Nikki Sixx's real name is Frank Ferrana.
I mean, I prefer that. I need to look this up. Where does the last name, this is how we're going to leave you guys, Deal come from? I'm generally curious to know. Okay, the last name Deal has multiple origins. It could be the English habitat name from Deal in Kent, meaning a place in the hollow or the valley.
Okay.
It also could be a German. It could be the Americanized form of a German name, which is like Diel. It could also be a variant of the surname in England, Dale, which is also valley. So apparently his family comes from a place in a valley or a hole.
There we go.
I don't know why you guys. If anyone wins Jeopardy in the next 6 weeks, I want 10% royalties.
There we go.
But do you think about that, Tim? Like, our names have like reference, right? Like you can tell where they came. Oh, I don't know where O'Sullivan come from then.
Well, it comes from Ireland, but
Obviously.
the outside of that, I have never really given it much thought.
Oh, let's Google it before they go. Where does the name O'Sullivan come from? Obviously,
Kerry, I believe. Kerry in Ireland, I think.
the surname O'Sullivan is also found as Sullivan, originates to an Irish name of, oh God, I can't say that, Tim. Some Irish long thing that I'm not going to try to say is believed to be from the word soul, which means eye, and dub, which means dark. Descendant of the dark-eyed one. Or it could be descendant of one-eyed. Maybe some of your ancestors only had one eye, Tim.
No, they were a cyclops.
That checks out. Tim's ancestors were definitely Cyclops. We figured it out. There's no debate. All right. With that, this has been a weird episode. What would you like to leave the people with?
Just be kind to everyone that you meet.
I agree. Bye.
Bye bye.